Imagine this. It's Halloween night and the street outside feels like a festival. Kids are sprinting from house to house as if they're in some championship race, costumes flapping behind them, candy buckets banging like little drums against their legs. Porch lights glow like stage spotlights, and each doorbell is a buzzer for the next round of treasure. You can hear the chorus from a block away, shouts of "trick or treat," followed by laughter so contagious it almost carries you outside. For a second, you smile, because you remember. You remember being out there, breathless, full of sugar, dragging that plastic pumpkin bucket that felt bottomless. Every house was a victory. Every candy drop was proof. You belong. You matter. You're part of this night. And then, standing there at the window, something inside you tightens. You realize it's not the candy you miss. It's something harder to name. Back then, the real sweetness wasn't chocolate bars or lollipops. It was the smile from the neighbor you barely knew. It was the sound of footsteps matching yours on the sidewalk. It was the moment someone opened a door, looked you in the eyes, and welcomed you. That was the real treat. The sense that you were expected, seen, included. Now the buckets have changed. We don't carry pumpkins anymore. We carry grocery bags, work inboxes, credit card bills, endless tabs on a browser. We drag those buckets from one task to the next, filling them with receipts, deadlines, likes, streaming binges, whatever fits. They're heavy, overflowing, but somehow not sweet. And here's the part that makes me laugh at myself, and maybe at all of us. Sometimes my grown-up bucket is full of things I never even wanted, like the black licorice I used to trade away. Except now, it's obligations, forgotten subscriptions, or a week spent doing things that left me emptier than before. The bucket is full, but my heart is not. Have you felt that? That sense of looking at everything you've gathered, the paychecks, the tasks checked off, the little online victories, and realizing none of it tastes like belonging. You pour it out on the floor at the end of the day and it looks impressive, but it doesn't feed you. That's when the memory of those kids outside hits harder. Because deep down, what we really miss isn't the candy. It's the connection, the welcome, the belonging. And that's not childish. It's human. There's a part of us, no matter how old, no matter how successful, that still longs to knock on a door, be seen, and be given something freely. Not because we earned it, but because someone cared enough to say, "Here, I see you. I'm glad you came." That's why the sound of children running with candy buckets can undo us in a heartbeat. It reminds us of a truth we've buried under busyness. The sweetest part of life has never been about what fills the bucket. It's about who meets us at the door. So tonight, as porch lights glow and the sidewalks echo with laughter, maybe Halloween is inviting us to, not to chase candy, but to remember that the deepest hunger we carry isn't for things, it's for each other. And maybe the bucket, in its simple plastic way, is asking us a question we've been avoiding. What are you really hungry for? There's something almost comical about how adulthood disguises itself. From the outside, it looks put together. The job, the car, the full schedule, the bills paid on time. But if you peek beneath the surface, you'll often find a quiet ache. It isn't loud, it doesn't shout, it just lingers, like a weight you carry around without telling anyone. Our buckets are still with us, only now they're digital, financial, emotional. The grocery bags that never feel light enough, the email inbox that refills faster than you can empty it, the credit card bill that greets you like an uninvited guest every month, even the little red notifications on our phones, each one a knock at the door. And still, when the day ends, the bucket feels heavy, but unsatisfying. You sit down at night, scrolling with glazed eyes, trying to trick yourself into thinking you're unwinding. But the truth is, you're filling the bucket with noise. Clips, ads, endless updates. You're piling it higher and higher. And yet, when you finally set the phone down, there's no sweetness, only emptiness. And here's the contradiction. The harder we try to fill the bucket, the less satisfied we feel. We think more tasks, more likes, more purchases, more hustle will fix the hollow place. But it only grows, like chasing candy that never melts on your tongue. The quiet pain of adulthood is this. We confuse weight with worth. We assume a full bucket must mean a full life. But sometimes, all it means is exhaustion. You know this feeling. You've worked late into the night, answered every message, crossed off the to-do list, and when you finally close the laptop, it feels like nothing has changed inside you. Your bucket is full, but your heart is still hungry. That hunger is the wound we don't talk about. We joke about burnout. We laugh about Sunday scaries. We share memes about how tired we are. But underneath the humor is something tender. We don't know how to ask for connection without sounding needy. It's easier to say, I'm busy. Easier to keep running from door to door, tossing things into the bucket. Easier to act like the ache isn't there. But ignoring it doesn't erase it. It only deepens the sense that life is slipping past while we keep chasing the wrong kind of candy. There's another layer too, the guilt. Guilt for feeling lonely when your calendar is packed. Guilt for craving rest when so many depend on you. Guilt for longing for simple human warmth in a world that worships productivity. This is where the struggle twists tight. You want belonging, but you keep chasing busyness. You want rest, but you keep saying yes. You want to feel seen, but you hide behind, I'm fine. And the bucket grows heavier with things that never touch the part of you that needs love. Here's a diamond line, one worth sitting with. It's not wrong to want more. It's just that what you're chasing may not be what you're craving. The children outside know this better than we do. They run and laugh and fill their buckets, but what they carry home is more than sugar. They carry the memory of neighbors smiling, doors opening, the feeling of being welcome. Their buckets are heavy, yes, but also sweet. Ours don't have to stay this way, weighed down but hollow. Naming the ache is already the beginning of healing it. Saying to yourself, yes, this is me. I'm tired of being full and still feeling empty is not weakness, it's honesty. And honesty is the first door that opens toward belonging. So pause with me here, at this hinge between recognition and change. You don't need to fix it all tonight, but let yourself ask, what is my bucket full of? And why doesn't it satisfy me? Sometimes the moment of truth doesn't arrive with fireworks. It sneaks in quietly, like a draft under the door. It was one of those nights when everything felt too heavy. The kind where you toss your keys onto the counter, kick off your shoes and head straight for the fridge without thinking. The light hums as you open it, casting a pale glow on leftovers you don't want and drinks you don't need. The bucket is already full. Deadlines, errands, emails. But still, you're searching for something sweet. And then, through the window, you hear it. The unmistakable sound of children laughing on the street. Candy buckets swinging. Sneakers pounding the pavement. Voices calling out into the night. Trick or treat. For a moment, you freeze. That sound cuts through the hum of the refrigerator, through the fog of your scrolling mind. And suddenly, you're not hungry for food at all. You're hungry for what they have. Connection, joy, presence. It's almost funny, isn't it? You've got a full fridge, a full inbox, a full schedule. And yet the sweetest thing you crave is outside your door, where children are collecting not just candy, but memories of being seen. This is the crack in the pattern, the small realization that exposes the cost of pretending everything is fine. Because if you keep filling your bucket this way, with things, tasks, distractions, you will end up heavy, but never nourished. And here's the painful diamond truth. If nothing changes, you risk disappearing from your own life. It's not dramatic, not at first. It's subtle. The way you stop laughing as much, the way days blur together, the way you live more through screens than through eyes meeting across a room. But over time, the cost is enormous. The sweetness fades and what remains is a quiet emptiness that no purchase, no accomplishment, no new notification can fix. That night, as the sound of laughter drifted through the window, you could feel the contradiction laid bare. Kids chasing candy were more alive than adults chasing everything else. Their buckets were lighter, but their hearts were full. And in that instant, something inside whispered, "It's not candy you're missing, it's belonging." The candy bucket returns here, but it means something different now. It isn't just a container for chocolate or tasks, it's a mirror, showing what you've been carrying and what's been missing. And the reflection is sobering. Maybe you realize how long it's been since you sat with a friend without glancing at your phone. Maybe you notice how often you say, "I'm busy," when what you really mean is, "I'm lonely." Maybe you remember how good it felt, years ago, when someone knocked on your door just to say hello. These aren't big revelations in the world's eyes, but they are monumental in the heart. They're the kind of cracks that let light slip in. And here's the shift. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. Once you recognize that your bucket is full but unsweet, you can no longer pretend weight equals worth. You have to ask yourself, what would it look like to carry fewer things but more moments that matter? The realization isn't comfortable, but it is freeing. Because for the first time in a long time, you know what the ache has been pointing to. Not more candy, not more noise, but more connection, more welcome, more belonging. And in that recognition lies the seed of... Realizations are powerful, but they don't mean much until they touch your daily life. Awareness is like noticing the porch light glowing in the distance. It guides you, yes, but unless you take a step toward it, you remain in the dark. The question becomes, how do you begin? Not with sweeping resolutions or grand reinventions. No, change begins in the smallest, humblest acts. The kind so simple they seem almost laughable. And yet, these are the acts that start to remake a life. I'll give you an example. One night, instead of collapsing into the same scrolling routine, you choose to stand on the porch for just 2 minutes. You breathe the crisp air. You hear the sound of leaves brushing along the street. A passerby nods, and you nod back. It's brief, almost trivial. But when you step back inside, you notice something. That tiny human exchange carried more sweetness than a whole hour of scrolling ever could. Or this, you wash a single cup in the sink. Not because the kitchen needs to be spotless, but because your heart does. You let the warm water run over your hands, the soap sliding across porcelain. And for those few moments, your mind is clear, a pocket of stillness in a noisy day. Or maybe this, you pick up your phone, not to scroll, but to send one honest text, thinking of you. That's it. You don't wait for a reply. You don't script it for effect. You just offer presence. And when the message is sent, you feel lighter, because connection isn't about getting something back. It's about giving what's real. These tiny actions are deceptively powerful. They are the opposite of what empties the bucket. They don't add noise, they add meaning. They don't pile weight, they pour sweetness. Here's a diamond line to hold on to. Small kindness is sugar that lasts. And notice this. Every act has a physical anchor. Stepping onto the porch, your feet on the cold ground. Washing the cup, the feel of warm water on skin. #Meta quotes Sex.05 sending the text, the vibration in your hand as the message goes out. These sensations matter. They remind you you're alive, present, embodied. They make belonging tangible. The candy bucket comes back here too. But instead of heavy obligations, you're placing something new inside it. A nod from a stranger, a clean cup, a simple message. One by one, these moments begin to shift the weight from empty to full. Of course, the old habits still call. The bucket of noise is always waiting. The endless to-do lists, the temptation of mindless scrolling, the lure of overworking. And there will be nights when you fall back into them. That's okay. This isn't about perfection. It's about direction. Even one small act changes the direction of the day. Even one reminder, I'm more than what I consume. I'm more than what I produce, is enough to tilt the balance. And with each act, you start to believe something you'd forgotten. You have the power to shape your bucket. You don't have to accept whatever falls into it. You can choose what it carries. It's not about adding more. It's about adding what matters. So tonight, when the bucket feels heavy, try one thing. Step outside. Wash one cup. Send one message. Place tomorrow's glass of water by the bed as a gift to your future self. Do it not to fix your life in an instant, but to remind yourself that life can still be sweet in small doses. Because sweetness doesn't come from what's big and shiny. It comes from what's real, repeated, and reachable. And maybe, just maybe, the next time you hear children laughing outside, you won't only feel the ache of what's missing, you'll feel the joy of knowing you've begun to fill your own bucket differently. It's tempting to think this is just your story, that you're the only one dragging around a heavy bucket, filling it with tasks, distractions, and obligations that never really satisfy. But the truth is bigger than that. This isn't only about you, it's about all of us. Everywhere you look, people are carrying buckets. Some buckets are shiny, polished to look impressive on the outside. Others are dented, worn thin from years of use. But no matter the shape, most of them are too heavy, and most of them are full of the wrong things. That's why Halloween is such a striking metaphor. On the surface, it's about candy and costumes, but underneath, it's about something deeper, the ritual of belonging. A door opens, a smile greets you, a small gift drops into your bucket, and in that moment, you are reminded, you matter to the community around you. Viktor Frankl, who knew suffering more deeply than most of us ever will, taught that meaning isn't found in possessions or circumstances. It's found in the choices we make about how to meet life. We cannot always change what happens to us, but we can decide how to carry it and what we allow into our buckets. That wisdom belongs to everyone. Think about it. How many of us are racing from door to door in different costumes now? The suit, the uniform, the polished online persona, all trying to collect rewards that don't taste sweet once we get home. How many of us collapse at the end of the day with a full bucket, only to discover the hollowness inside remains? We share this ache. It isn't a flaw. It's a part of being human in a world that confuses achievement with nourishment. And because it is shared, the healing is shared too. Connection isn't a solo project. It's a community act. Just as children don't trick or treat alone, we don't rediscover meaning by ourselves. We do it together. One door, one smile, one small act at a time. Here's the universal message. Attention is how love arrives. #Meta, pause. When you give your full presence to someone, a neighbor, a friend, even a stranger on the street, you are dropping sweetness into their bucket. And when you allow yourself to receive that presence, you're reminded that your own bucket doesn't have to stay heavy with things that don't matter. Imagine what would change if we lived with that awareness. If every day, instead of measuring worth by what we accomplished or acquired, we measured it by how much attention, kindness, and presence we gave. The world wouldn't get easier, life's hardships wouldn't vanish, but the meaning would shift, the sweetness would return. This isn't idealistic fluff, it's practical. A single genuine smile can lighten a stranger's load. A text message can remind a lonely friend they're not invisible. A few minutes of listening without distraction can turn an ordinary moment into a gift. And none of us are too small to give that. We live in a culture that rewards noise and speed. But deep down, we all remember what it felt like to stand at a doorway, bucket in hand, and be welcomed. That memory isn't childish, it's human. It's a reminder that what we're really seeking isn't sugar, but presence. So, as you carry your bucket forward, remember, you are not alone in this hunger. We all want the same thing, to be seen, to be welcomed, to belong. And the beauty is, you already have the power to offer that and to receive it. Let this truth settle in. Your bucket doesn't have to be filled with noise. It can be filled with faces, with moments, with attention that tastes like real sweetness. And when you choose that, you're not just changing your own story, you're helping rewrite ours, together. By now, the bucket has followed us through the whole story. From childhood streets full of candy to grown-up days full of tasks, it's been our companion, our mirror, our weight. And tonight, as the porch lights fade and the sidewalks grow quiet, it's time to ask, what will you choose to carry from here? The beautiful thing is, you don't need a grand plan. You don't need to overhaul your life in one sweeping gesture. You only need to begin with one small act, something so ordinary it almost feels silly, but powerful enough to change the taste of your whole day. Maybe tonight, you pour yourself a warm drink, set the mug down beside you, and actually savor it. No phone in hand, no rushing to the next thing, just you, the quiet, and the warmth sliding through your palms. For those few minutes, the bucket isn't heavy, it's sweet. Or tomorrow, you place a glass of water on the counter before bed, a tiny act of kindness toward your future self. In the morning, when you see it waiting, it will whisper, "Someone cared for me," and that someone was me. Or perhaps, when you hear laughter outside, you step onto the porch, even for a moment. You let the night air touch your face. Maybe you smile at someone walking by. It doesn't matter how small. What matters is that you chose connection over hiding, presence over distraction. These aren't dramatic steps, but they are real. And real is enough. Here's a diamond truth to carry forward. Life rarely changes in one leap. It softens and brightens through the smallest choices, repeated. The candy bucket sits at the door again in this closing scene, but now, it isn't a container of noise or obligations. It isn't a symbol of weight. It is lighter, transformed. Inside it are not chocolates or bills or unfinished tasks, but the moments you decided to pay attention, the smile you shared, the message you sent, the cup you washed, the glass of water waiting for tomorrow. And when you set that bucket down, you realize it doesn't matter how much or how little is inside. What matters is the sweetness of what you've chosen to carry. So here is the gentle call. Don't let another day end with a bucket full of emptiness. Place one thing inside it tonight that truly matters. One act of kindness, one breath of presence, one small reminder that life is more than weight. It is sweetness waiting to be noticed. You don't need to solve everything. You don't need to fix your whole story in one night. You only need to choose differently once, and then again tomorrow, and again after that. Because this isn't about candy. It's about connection. It's about meaning. It's about remembering, as Frankl taught, that even when circumstances are heavy, you can still choose what to carry in your heart. So as the night settles and the lights go out, ask yourself softly, what will I place in my bucket before I sleep? Let it be one thing that tastes of real sweetness, and carry that taste into tomorrow.